Welcome back to Top 10 Nerds. I'm Kat Jovi, and today we're going to be looking at Superman and his powers. He's faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to jump over tall buildings in a single bound. These are the powers that we all know and love, but we have seen a lot of other ones over the years. There have also been powers that he has lost or only shown one time, so today we're going to take a look at the top 10 times Superman actually lost his powers instead. At number 10, we have A Fight Under a Red Sun. In 1978, there was a comic with an evil alien leader called Ratlat that comes to Earth looking for Earth's champion to fight his champion. Superman and, drumroll please, Muhammad Ali nominate themselves. I mean, it's 1978, that's the year that Ali became the first heavyweight champion to win the belt 3 times, so it makes sense. The alien leader decides they should first fight to see who's the best. And to make it fair, they have a fight off-world in the light of a red sun, thus making Superman just like the rest of us. Funny enough, Ali crushes him, like no question about it. Then he goes and fights the alien's best fighter and beats him too. That's right, Ali becomes the greatest fighter in the universe. Then, because Superman is weakened, he also saves him and helps him get his powers back. At number 9, we have A Life-Sucking Plant. Eat your heart out, poison ivy. In The Man Who Has Everything, Robin, Wonder Woman, and Batman are heading to Superman's Fortress of Solitude for his birthday party. I know, super cute, right? I guess I never really think about the fact that, supers have birthdays and stuff like that, so cute. However, instead of getting his drink on to celebrate or putting out snacks for his guests, he is under attack by Mongol, who has brought along Black Mercy. What is that, you might ask? Well, it is a plant that lulls you into a dreamlike state while it sucks the life out of you. I know, it's a very, very evil plant. Wonder Woman and Batman end up under its control in the heroic efforts to save Superman. Enter Robin. This is his moment to shine. Robin intervenes just before Mogul kills Superman and places the Black Mercy on Mogul instead. At number 8, we have An Altered Future. In Justice League 3000, there is a universe that is controlled by 5 super beings. To battle these guys, the Justice League is brought back to life, but without their full powers. It almost gets comical in my mind at this point. Superman, since he is essentially a god, is brought back a lot weaker than the rest. I guess to balance the scale out a bit. The huge point though is that he can no longer fly, and he keeps forgetting that he can't. Thankfully, the one time that he tries to jump off of a big building, the Green Lantern is around and is able to grab him before he falls to his death. It's just kind of a ridiculous one. At number 7, we have The Black Light. In Justice League America Act of God, it shows the aftermath of an unexplainable event called the Black Light, which irrevocably removes the powers of every super being. As you might imagine, this drives a lot of superheroes crazy. It was their purpose in life, and now it's just been taken away. Lois Lane grows tired of just plain old Clark Kent and leaves him. As, maybe no surprise to fans, he ends up getting together with Wonder Woman. Woo, it happens! But their relationship goes south when Clark is just down in the dumps and depressed over it, and Diana is all like hopeful, and this is just a test, and we're all gonna get our powers back. If you just have faith, it's gonna come together. He ends up in a mess. He ends up homeless, living on the streets for a time, but then they make up and they get married and they have a kid. So, it ends on a happy note there, and there's also a hint that the child might carry on the super legacy. There is hope. On to number 6, where we are looking at a sort of time travel thing with a red sun thing. In Justice League Unlimited, there is an episode called Hereafter, where there are villains called the Superman's Revenge Squad. Creative name, I know. In a battle, Wonder Woman is about to get shot by an energy cannon when Superman dives in front of her to save her from the energy, and it vaporizes him on the spot. Twist, it actually transports him 30,000 years into the future, where he awakens with no powers, as he is under the Earth's now red sun. In this future, he meets his immortal villain, Vandal Savage, who actually feels bad about having killed the Justice League and quickening the death of the Earth. And since he has millennials to think over this, he realizes that the quest for power is meaningless. Lucky for Superman, he happens to have a time machine on hand in his mansion that was built on the rubble of Metropolis. So Superman gets a special power source to repower it and repower the superheroes in his time. Vidal tells him everything he needs to know in order to beat his former self, and then Superman heads back to put things right. At number 5, we have a sand being. This one's a bit of a way back playback, but in Superman issue number 233, an experiment is done to turn all kryptonite on Earth to iron. But at the same time, a new being is formed in the sand. It's created from soil and rock and a burst of raw energy and cast in the mold of Superman. In the next issue, more is revealed. When he flies too close to Superman, he gets weak and dizzy and is forced to stop what he's in the middle of. Then, in issue 237, the sand thing smashes right into him and he loses his ability to fly. He falls right down through the atmosphere, crashes into the earth, and can't seem to fly again. He's still able to leap over a small mountain though, so that's good. In the same issue, he's able to feel bullets hit him. He can't quite bend the barrel of a gun. It's really hard work to knock these bad guys' heads together. He's just not himself. Eventually we discover that the sand creature comes from another dimension. He has 1/3 of Superman's power. The best surgeons are called to see if they can sort out the issue, but they can't really. Then he goes to battle the sand creature. They end up chasing each other through the center of the Earth's core, and it wreaks havoc on the Earth, as it would, and their battle is continuing in space. Superman is beside himself upset, and then he's pulled out of a trance that he had been put into to see what would happen if they dueled. So they didn't actually duel, and then they both decide that it's not worth it, but that the Sand Superman doesn't give back all of his powers to make sure that no one has that much power ever, and then he goes back to his own dimension. Although the next issue, he easily survives a supernova, so I'm not really sure if that stuck. It seems like it didn't really, but it was a thing. At number 4, we have a filter on yellow sunlight. In Batman the Animated Series, there is an episode called Solar Powers where Superman's resilience on yellow sunlight is focused on. Suddenly Superman finds his powers failing him. He starts to feel weak at just the wrong moment. Lois Lane is in danger of dying in a cable car that is stalled, and an emergency beam that is cutting the mechanism that's keeping it all together is happening. I know, it's stressful. He does save her, but it's really hard this time, and the weight of the cable car is just aggressive on him. The big bad in this episode is Luminous. He was an inventor at LexCorp until he blows the whistle on some of their questionable activities, and then of course has to leave, and ends up with a sour taste in his mouth. In this episode, he hacks LexCorp's satellites around the Earth, a jab at Lex, and programs them to filter out all the yellow sunlight, which is what Superman's powers are based on. So 2 birds, 1 stone here, Superman and Lex. Superman, or I guess we will just call him Clark now, has to figure out a way to put a stop to him as a regular man. Spoiler, he does. I know, you're shocked. In the last battle, he fires a laser shot at Spider-Man. It's deflected onto the master controls, shutting down the filter and allowing Superman, now at full power, to take Luminous to the police. At number 3, we have the old switcheroo. In Superman Batman issue number 53, Superman and Batman team up to fight the Silver Banshee. Now she has this special artifact with her called the KRYPTONITE brooch. The Silver Banshee ends up kicking their and running off, but Superman can't use his X-ray vision suddenly, and Batman is unharmed from what they just went through, so it's really strange. And then it turns out that they actually switched powers, which really means Batman is basically a god and Superman is just a dude, just a regular man now. Batman gets a little zealous with his newfound power and starts global patrols and gets more and more aggressive with the bad guys, so eventually the Justice League realizes that they kinda probably gonna have to take him down, but Superbat, I'm gonna call him, is just too strong. So they finally get Superbat and Superman together with the KRYPTONITE brooch and Zatanna's magic, and they're able to reverse what was done. At number 2, we have a Sun Eater. I know, it sounds cool, right? In the final night, there was a crossover. An alien refugee called Dusk shows up on Earth warning us that an exceptionally powerful entity called Sun Eater is coming to Earth. They do try to stop him, but sadly he does engulf engulf our sun, and the Earth quickly becomes a dark, wintry wasteland. Everyone is getting very depressed, and it looks like humanity only has maybe 5 days before the Earth becomes totally uninhabitable. Once again, the yellow sun is gone, so Superman loses most of his power, but just most. Love how writers change it up depending on what's needed for the story. Who should show up to save the day but Hal Jordan? He's recently come back from turning into an evil Parallax, so he's trying to get some good karma here, I think. He ends up flying right into the dying sun, absorbing all the energy from it, redirects the energy with his green energy, and reignites the sun. Thank goodness he was in the neighborhood to help Superman out. At number 1, we have red kryptonite. In the War of Superman, there are kryptonite supercriminals Zod, Non, and Ursa. They threaten to destroy Earth when once again the new Krypton explodes. Tough planet to be on. This time the gang assembles and it is Superboy, Nightwing, Supergirl, Flamebird, Steel, and the Guardian. Superman and Supergirl fly into space and are trying to stop the attack before it even gets to us, but Lex is working with Zod and happens to have a red kryptonite missile waiting for them. He fires it at them and they start suffocating in the vacuum of space when they lose their powers. Thankfully, Flamebird steps in and burns as bright as she possibly can over to make the yellow sun burn through the red kryptonite to get them their powers back. Sadly, this uses all of her energy and she actually loses her life instead. Silver lining though, this just lights a fire under the gang to take Zod out even quicker. And there you have it. 10 times Superman lost his powers. What are some of your favorite ones? Feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell if you never want to miss a video. I'm Kat Jovi, this has been Top 10 Nerd. Have a great one.